All right, thank you for that. Appreciate it, Colleen. Well, there is one more reason to cheer for the Mavericks tonight. It starts before the game even begins. A group of U.S. Navy SEALs will be at our Victory Park studio to meet fans and let them know how they can participate in Carry the Load. The Carry the Load project is a Memorial Day event honoring and raising money for members of the military, local police, fire departments, and their families. We have a couple of former Navy SEALs here with us this morning to talk about the mission. We have Clint here, as well as Steve, Clint Bruce, Stephen Holly, and we're glad you guys could join us here this morning. We were just saying the popularity around the Navy SEALs, the pop culture popularity has really taken off in the last year or two.
Yeah, and we're uncomfortable with that as an organization because we prefer to kind of be back in the shadows, but it is what it is, so we want to steward that attention well. Yeah,
I mean, your operations are very clandestine,
right,
and you try to sort of operate under a veil of secrecy, and now you've probably got kids everywhere wanting to have their picture taken.
Yeah,
with the Navy SEAL.
The former Navy SEALs tend to take the burden of attention for that one.
Well, I think what's great about that, though, with the interest, Stephen, you can speak to this, it allows you to then put your name and recognition behind organizations like Carry the Load, which then brings more interest to helping the cause. Explain for people what the cause is.
Absolutely. It's, like you said, it's an opportunity to leverage our former professions and use it to steer resources to worthy causes. Carry the Load is an event with two primary purposes. It's to raise money, as you said, for military, law enforcement, fire and rescue beneficiaries. And secondly, but just as importantly, it's an opportunity for people to come out and have a meaningful experience over Memorial Day weekend. You know, as Clint and I got out of the Navy and looked at the way our generation and the average American observed that holiday, it was not in keeping with the original intent, and we wanted to change that.
Right. You know, one-day mattress sales are all great for Memorial Day, but really this is about honoring our heroes and bringing attention, especially when our military currently is so active. And what we're seeing is, in some cases, a lack of support once our military come home, whether it's in finding a job, getting health care, getting basic needs, and their families as well.
Right, and that's something we've always wanted to highlight. We want to take the opportunity, especially on Memorial Day, and more particularly the families of guys that don't come home. I mean, what do we do with them? I mean, you know, the drive-by opportunities to take them to games, we want to come alongside them and stay with them from the time they lose their husband, their daddy, their sons, and just never stop serving them, remembering the ones they lost and then carrying on.
Stephen, you're co-founder Carry the Load, and I understand there's a touching story around how you came to be inspired to call it Carry the Load.
Yeah, both Clint and I are co-founders, and actually I'll let Clint tell a story of
what inspired the name? What inspired the name?
So Carry the Load for me is a pretty emotional weekend. It's not this 3-day weekend, a mattress sale, as you referred to earlier. And my wife, who's been with me since I was at Annapolis, she gets it. And so one Memorial Day, she said, hey, I get it, just do something about it. So I started walking around White Rock Lake with a backpack on, just kind of thinking about the guys that weren't with us anymore. And I was coming around the corner, and there was this older gentleman who you just know was a World War II or Korean War veteran, and he said something to me, and I couldn't hear him, so I pulled my headphones out, and I turned and looked at him, and he said, hey son, who are you carrying? And for me, that kind of unlocked what I was feeling, and that was really the genesis of Carry the Load. Is, you know, the reality is if you're doing life well, you're either carrying someone or being carried by somebody. And if you're not about anyone other than yourself, then what good are you?
And it's interesting. It doesn't matter your solitude, your ability to go overseas and fight for your country, the kinds of stuff. Every once in a while, people need to have somebody help them carry the load, whether it's emotional, financial, or otherwise.
That's exactly right. You know, and the reason we can do these things overseas is because we have law enforcement and fire that does it here, and we have great businessmen who power our economy. So it takes a nation to do this well. We got to carry each other, and that's what the event's about.
All right. Well, we want people to turn out tonight. Again, that is 5:30 to 7:30. You can greet and meet with the elite U.S. Navy SEALs right outside our Victory Park studios. They will help you sign up for Carry the Load, the mission, and then you can rock right over to the game. Game 3 of the Mavs versus the Thunder, the playoff series. We're hoping they win this one. Game 3, Alexa, tickets still available. This is another reason to come down. Thank you both.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Clint and Stephen. Alexa, over to you.
All right, thank you. When DayBreak returns, some big news for a